canto, second chapter, sloka number 17. Okay, are you able to see my screen? Hare Krishna. Dear devotee, are you able to see my screen? You are able to see, right? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.17. So vibhrat purusham dhama. So vibhrat purusham dhama. Vrajamano yatha ravihi. Vrajamano yatha ravihi. Durasado ati durdharsho. Durasado ati durdharsho. Bhutanam sambhavubah. Bhutanam sambhavubah. Savibhrat paurusam dhama. Bhrajamano yatha ravihi. Savibhrat paurusam dhama. Bhrajamano yatha ravihi. Durasado ati durdharsho. Bhutanam sambhavubah. Savibhrat paurusam dhama. Vrajamana yatha ravihi. Durdharsho ati durdharsho. Bhutanam sambhavubah. Savibhrat paurusam dhama. Vrajamano yatha ravihi. Durasado ati durdharsho. Bhutanam sambhavubah. Synonyms: Sahi Vasudeva, Vivrat carried, Paurusam pertaining to the Supreme Person, Dharma the spiritual effulgence, Brajamana illuminating, Yatha as Ravi the sunshine, Durasadaha very difficult even to look at, difficult to understand by sensory perception. Ati durdharsaha approachable with great difficulties. Bhutanam of all living entities. Sambhabhuva so he became her positively. Translation. While carrying the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of his heart, Vasudeva, before the Lord's transcendentally illuminating effulgence, and thus he became as bright as the sun. He was therefore very difficult to see or approach through sensory perception. Indeed, he was unapproachable and unperceivable even for such formidable men as Kamsa, and not only for Kamsa but for all living entities. Purport. The word Dhamma is significant. Dhamma refers to the place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1, it is said, Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. In the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no influence of material energy. Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam, any place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present by his name, form, qualities, or paraphernalia, immediately becomes a Dhama. For example, we speak of Vrindavan Dham, Dwarka Dham, and Mathura Dham because in these places the name, fame, qualities, and paraphernalia of the Supreme Godhead are always present. Similarly, if one is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to do something, the core of his heart becomes a Dhamma. And thus, he becomes so extraordinarily powerful that not only his enemies but also people in general are astonished to observe his activities because he is unapproachable. His enemies are simply struck with wonder, as explained here by the words Dura Sado Ati Durdharsaha. The word Paurusham Dham has been explained by various acharyas. Sri Veeraraghavacharya says that these words refer to the effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vijaya Dhwaja says that they signify Vishnu Tejas, and the Sukadeva says Bhagavat Swarupa. The Vaishnava Toshani says that these words indicate the influence of the Supreme Lord's effulgence, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that they signify the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
ମା କବାଟ କିଏ ଦବ? କବାଟ କିଏ ଦବ?
Hare Krishna. So, these sloka presentation. You are able to see my presentation. So we'll be covering in these presentations that how Vasudeva, the father of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, got the transcendental effulgence from Supreme Personality of Godhead. Understanding what is the abode of Supreme Personality of Godhead called Dhamma, the empowerment of devotees by Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the various interpretations by Vaishnava Acharyas about Paurusam Dhamma. So these five topics will be covering. So who is said to be Supreme Personality of Godhead? Who is having all these six opulences, fullest, absolute in him. Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Avasisyate. From whom, even if you take all these qualities, absolutely all these opulences, if taken away from Supreme Personality of Godhead, same even remain. Just like Supreme Personality of Godhead can manifest himself in Dwarka as 16,108 forms. And all these Krishna forms are equally opulent with all the six qualities. So we cannot say that 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. In transcendental realm, 1 minus 1 is still equal to 1 because this is inexhaustible. In mathematics, we learn about exhaustible, but in spiritual science, which is beyond the domain of empirics, is inexhaustible. So what is inexhaustible is Supreme Personality of Godhead, opulence. Just like from the ocean, any amount of water you take out, still the ocean remains. When our comprehension of definity, When we think about definity, we ourselves determine the strength by comparing with ourselves. When we say about Supreme Personality of Godhead is powerful, then we compare it. How powerful? I can lift one stone. He can lift Govardhan. So the comparison happen like that. So human beings are habituated to calculate by Sankhya. Sankhya means the process of counting. So I can lift one stone. Supreme Personality of Godhead might have the strength of lifting 1,000 stone, maybe 1 lakh stone, maybe 1 crore stone. So like that. That is the process of counting, Sankhya Yoga. So people are interested in understanding the absolute truth in Sankhya. Others, they want to understand Supreme Personality of Godhead through the process of Bhakti Yoga. Supreme Personality of Godhead is understood as He is through the process of Bhakti Yoga. Bhaktya mam abhijanati jaban jasasmi tattva. Though the sincere seeker of the truth through the process of Sankhya also can get the merits of Bhakti Yoga or Karma Yoga when they take shelter of Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Ekam Sankyam cha Yogam cha, Bhagavad Gita says that. And one of the process, Sankyam api, Sankhya can also give the result of Bhakti Yoga when the shelter is taken, and Bhakti Yoga also gives the result of Sankhya Yoga. Even Bhakti Yogi gets the merits of everything in the very beginning. Vedesu, Yajnasu, Tapasu, Chaiva, Jat Punya Phalam, Pradishtam, Atyati Tat Sarvam Idam, Viditya Yogi Param Sthanam Upaiti Chadyam. So the process of knowing about Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most sublime process which is followed by Vasudeva, being a devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord empowers the devotees. Dadami buddhi yogam tenam jena mam upajanti te. When some devotee sincerely interested to cultivate Krishna consciousness, to understand Krishna consciousness, to practice Krishna consciousness, Supreme Personality of Godhead give the required intelligence to him. Not only that, Jnana Deepena Bhaswata Tesam Ajnana Andhatama. So whatever misinformation, whatever doubts, whatever knowledge which is not well understood by devotee, Supreme Personality of Godhead give this knowledge, required knowledge. Supreme Personality of Godhead will not give those whole stuff of knowledge so that a devotee will be confused. Required knowledge, whatever knowledge, the essence of all Vedic scriptures is well understood. All the required knowledge is provided by Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself to know Him. And that is the real process. Bhaktya mam abhijananti javan jasasmi tattata. Anyway, the six opulences are strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciations. In this purport, we see that Supreme Personality of Godhead is the source of all creations. And that creations, what we talk about, the spiritual world is eternally existing, and the material world is bhutta bhutta praliyate. Jad ratra agame Brahmadev, Brahmaratra, Brahma Divasa. The pralaya happened in when the transition happened, Sandhya, in the day of Brahma and the night of Brahma. The day of Brahma is 1000 years, uh, 1000 golden years, golden yugas. One golden yuga or Chaturjuga is combination of Satya, Tretaya, Dwapar, Kali is 4.32. into 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power 6, 43 lakh, 43.2 lakh years is one golden yuga or called Chatur Yuga. So similarly, 1000, that means 4.32 into 10 to the power 6 into 10 to the power 3. So 4.32 into 10 to the power 9. This is one day of Brahma. Similarly, night, that means 8.64 into 10 to the power 9 is complete day of Brahma. So the Pralaya happens when the days end of the Brahma and night comes. That time everything rests in Mahavishnu. So entire cosmic manifestations which we see as material world, in order to facilitate the independent enjoying mentality of the living entity, is created and destroyed or rested upon the cosmic body of Mahavishnu called Karanadasai Mahavishnu. So this way the dissolution and creation are happening. So the devotees are not bewildered by such changes, but whenever a devotee practices Krishna consciousness, he is realized that Supreme Personality of Godhead, wherever he resides, that is called as Dhamma. I will open that image, which you can see. Yeah. So this 3/4 is in the Golok chart. You can see this third portions of the fourth part is spiritual level. One is Vaikuntha, you can see, is Golaka. Golaka and Vaikuntha are the 3/4 part. And only 1/4 part is the cosmic manifestations. So this entire cosmic manifestations are resting upon Lord Mahavishnu. And for each universes, the pralayas happen in the end of the day of Brahma, as explained in Bhagavad Gita. You can see that. So these small balls are one Brahmanda, and here one Brahmanda is enlarged like that. So all these cosmic manifestations is spread by Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu is the form of Sankarsana. So here are the Chaturviha, Sri Sankarsana, from whom come the second quadruple, Aniruddha, Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and from whom comes Mahavishnu, the Sri Sankarsana, and from whom come the three Mahavishnu. One Mahavishnu called Karanadakasai Vishnu is entirely creating every creations. All the Brahmandas are coming from his arm pore, and when the dissolution happens, they goes to the body of Supreme Personality of Godhead and again comes out like that. In one Vishnu form inside every universe is Garbhodakasai Vishnu, and one Vishnu form which enters every living entity is Kshirodakasai Vishnu. So the Ksirasagara here in the top of the Brahmanda, and Garbhodakasai Vishnu sleeps in Garbhodaka ocean, which is in the bottom of the universe. This is Garbhodaka ocean, and here is Garbhodakasai Vishnu. And this you see is Ksirasagara, and there sleeps Kshirodakasai Vishnu. So all these energies of Supreme Personality of Godhead, through which Lord maintains all the creations, and all these creations are sourced from Supreme Personality of Godhead. Supreme Personality of Godhead not only creates the material world to facilitate the sense of independent enjoyment of living entity, but also enters into each universe and every living entity to give them the consciousness, the conscious realizations, the ability of willing, thinking, feeling, remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge are all facilitated by Paramatma. Though the soul is the part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead, it has the ability to will, feel, and think. That is the basic symptom of life. Chitkana, that is called consciousness. Just like heat and light is the symptom of fire, similarly, the symptom of every Chitkana or the spirit soul, is that it has the ability of willing, feeling, and thinking. Supreme Personality of Godhead is absolute and uncontaminated. However, the fragmental portion, Anu Atma, the spirit soul, can be contaminated by the independent desire of sense enjoyment by forgetting the relationship with God. वेद शास्त्र कहे तीनी तत्व संबंध अविधेय प्रयोजन. When a living entity forget that relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead, he falls into the trap of material pull. And when he practices abhideya by the help of sadhu, guru, shastra, vakya, karena anushilana, and also Paramatma who is within, sadhu, guru, shastra, atma rupe karana anushilana, guide such humble soul to practice the science of Krishna consciousness, understand the Sankhya of Krishna consciousness, and practice Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga of Krishna consciousness. Then gradually he can realize Supreme Personality of Godhead and his relationship with God. Then he maintains the relationship, and as Prayojan he attains love of Godhead, so that he no need to again fall in the pool of material birth, death, old age and diseases. That's why he can free himself. That is the overall process of creations, the reason for the creations, and the purpose of the creations, the meaning and purpose of the creations. Supreme Personality of Godhead this way become omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscience, knowledges of everything, and he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can be understood through the practice of devotional philosophy. Supreme Personality of Godhead has the attributes or the qualities which are called Sodasa Kala, 16 qualities. What are they? Daya, Dharya, Kshama, Nyaya, Nirapeksha, Nirasakta, Tapasya, Oparajeya, दानशील सौंदर्यमय नृतज्ञ एक्सपर्ट इन डांस संगीतज्ञ बेस्ट सिंगर हिज फ्लूट नीतिवादी सत्यवादी सर्वज्ञाता You can see the English meaning on the side: compassion, patience, forgiveness, justice, impartial, detachment, meditations, and renunciation, invincibility. Nobody can ever conquer. Ajay, generous, beautiful, most beautiful. Kandarpa koti kamanya vishesha shobham. The most beautiful among God is Kandarpa, Kamadev. And if you combine Koti Kandarpa, he is even more beautiful than them. Best in Shastriya Nritya, the best dancer who can dance in the fang of Kalyanaga. Sangitanga, best singer. By his flute, he can attract all the living entities to the millage of devotion service and pastimes. Honesty, always be righteous, follow the path of religion, establishes religions, sacrifice anything and everything for the sake of maintaining religion, can even break his promise, lift the wheel of chariot and break his promise in front of Bhishma Pitamaha. To protect religion, he himself can take off the challenges, can bestow the mercy to the all living entities for the better benefits. He is the speaker of the truth and master of all knowledges. So the divine mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, by which a person can only know him through the practice of devotional service, is very compassionate, is compassionate even to the demons. His compassion is beyond the comprehensions. Nobody can ever more compassion than Krishna. Even the demons, they were benefited by thinking about Krishna. So whoever think about Krishna, whether with a devotional attitude or inimical attitude, they all were getting the perfections based on their bhava, feeling or merits. Sruhudam Sarvabhutanam. He is the friend of every living entities. And his nature is that he loves the devotee and exchanges the devotional milage with the devotee. A devotee need to develop deeper connection with Supreme Personality of Godhead through the practice of devotional service. And that is the essence of human form of life, by which one can cultivate the science of Krishna consciousness and enter into the realm of devotions by relishing the devotional millage not only to the fullest but also that increases day after day. Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is caring the devotees, performing the pastimes in his holy abode, where his name, form, qualities, pastimes, paraphernalia, gopa, gopi, parivestitam, the creepers, the cows, the creatures, all are devoted, and the transcendental pastimes exhibited, even the ground, the sand, all are surcharged with the power of devotions. Whoever smears the dust of such a holy dham, they also transformed from the material pull or Mayavada or Nirvishesavada to Purna Bhakti Yoga, just like Uddhava, by smearing the dust of Vrindavan Dham, transformed into a pure devotee by taking shelter of the followers of gopis. And Supreme Personality of Godhead is always taking care of devotees, engaging them in various services through Yogamaya Shakti, Mahatmanastu, Mam Partha, Daivim Prakriti Asrita. Devotees, especially who are taken shelter, they are not under control of Maya, even though it appears that devotees are struggling, suffering. All are because of the arrangement of Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that in one very lifetime they can spend all their impious demerits or miseries in one life and go back Godhead. You might have accumulated so many sinful reactions from millions of lifetimes, and to suffer that you might have to spend years life after life, years after years, but by the mercy and arrangement of Yogamaya and the blessings of Krishna, a devotee life become simplified. In one life, he suffer all the consequences of karma in very little manner. So whatever difficulties a devotee might be facing, he should not be worried. And through that little difficulties, because of the laws of karma, every action had equal reactions. So when we surrender our karma, but when we take up the first class devotional service, we give up all our pious merit as well as impious merit, demerits to Krishna. Buddhi yukto jahatiha uve sukrute duskrute. So that is important when we understand the instructions of Krishna through scriptures or through sadhus and practice Krishna consciousness as it is with fullest surrenderness to Krishna. Then there is no reactions to suffer. So some based on our remaining impurities, anarthas, Krishna can give little sufferings under the protections of Yogamaya Shakti, not Mahamaya Shakti. So Krishna has two kind of control. One is direct control through Yogamaya, other is indirect control through Mahamaya. So those devotees are in direct control of Krishna. Anything happens to a disciple who is a devotee are under the control of Guru and Krishna. Disciple activities is never beyond the control of Guru and Krishna. So one should always take shelter of Guru, ask the permissions or ask the guidance to do every activities. That way, even though he might be facing greatest of his difficulties, he will be protected. Like Vasudeva is always protected by Krishna, even though he was facing great challenges being in the prison house of the Kansa, and all of the sons of Vasudeva were handed over to Kansa who were killed. These great challenges are certain karmas which they had to vanish by the mercy of Lord Krishna and arrangement of the Yogamaya. So from this you can very well understood that devotees are always protected by Yogamaya Shakti. Mahamaya is the one who troubles all these miscreants. Moghasa, Moghakarmana, Mogha Jnana, Vichita Saha, Rakshasim, Asurim Chaiva, Prakriti Mohini Asrita. So Mahamaya Shakti uh, defeat the purpose, their so-called desire of conquering the world, owning the world, becoming the lord over everything. Mogha Asa, Mogha Karmana, Mogha Jnana. All of their attempts were baffled by Mahamaya Shakti. So the two way of control, either through Yogamaya or through Mahamaya. Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manusya Partha Sarvasa. nobody can escape the control of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mama Vartmanu Vartante. Everybody has to follow the path or the control of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This sloka of Bhagavad Gita confirms that. So whether you take up the direct control of Krishna or indirect is your choice. When you take up Krishna consciousness, like Vasudeva, we will be always protected by the divine protections of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vasudeva was enlightened with the vision of Krishna, first in four armored form, then in unbearable form with the effulgence, transcendental effulgence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. As per the request, he transformed himself into the small baby form of Krishna and illuminated Vasudeva and Devaki with the transcendental realm, the spiritual awakening. Such awakening of devotee once happened is never feared to any person, whether Kansa or anybody, whosoever, when faces such devotee, they themselves are attacked by fear, but devotee never attacked by fear. Asoka Abhaya Amrutadhara. Whoever happens to receive the mercy of Krishna, he is freed from all sorts of miseries amidst of all those uh, fear factors present in front of him, like Vasudeva had all the fear factor in front of him, yet he is completely fearless. Abhaya. Asoka, even though lots of miseries are awaiting him, yet he is Ashoka. Ashoka Abhaya, because his Adhara, the shelter, is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the process. A devotee might faces lots of challenge to give up this unearthers and come to this first class devotional service. They need to practice seriously Krishna consciousness, and the most sublime process is exhibited by Haridas Thakur through the chanting of holy name. One can practice and associate with the devotees regularly to come out of the ignorance and free from material distractions and engagement in continuous devotional service. With that, his effulgence, his progress, and his ability to counter the adversaries is easy. So, in the path of spiritual life is not that easy. It's equal to walking on the sword. A devotee must be careful throughout his life not to commit any sinful activities, not to do any activities that deglorify Guru and Krishna or his mission. And one must be very cautious and careful. Yet, when a devotee receives the mercy of Guru and Krishna, he will be protected by his ability of Krishna consciousness. The surrounding devotees will be also benefited. That is the effulgence of the devotees, and the devotee become Asoka Abhaya and the place of Amruta, so that others devotee are also get pleased and helped by such devotions exercised by a great devotee. Hare Krishna. I think we have reached the time. Uh, any questions? Is there any questions? Hare Krishna. Yes. Yeah, permission. There is no waiting required to chant the holy name of Krishna. Diksha, even before Diksha, one can chant. After Diksha, one will continue to chant by the order of spiritual master. But it will not wait for you that you cannot chant before taking initiation, before taking permissions. You can continue chant by accepting a Siksha Guru also. When somebody teaches you about how to cultivate Krishna consciousness, he's called Siksha Guru. And who gives you the holy name, he is called Diksha Guru. So you can continue chanting under the guidance of a Siksha Guru. And gradually, when you get Diksha Guru, then you uh, follow the process. But Diksha is essential because the real uh, power of devotions or the prema exhibited by practicing the chanting of holy name and other devotional service under the protection of the spiritual masters, Diksha Guru. So Diksha is essential, and you will get all the major merits, but you may be deprived from the ultimate objective of attaining Krishna Prema without accepting spiritual master. But the process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so powerful that it will make you cultivated like fertile to fertile to cultivate Krishna consciousness by chanting more and more before accepting the Diksha. So you continue chanting Diksha and then accept whenever the suitable time come from spiritual master, you accept the Harinam. Okay? Hare Krishna. Yeah. Chanting is a function of consciousness or intelligence. Intelligence, yeah. Intelligence is part of consciousness. Consciousness is uh, expressed or acted through mind, intelligence, and identifications. Identification is that how you identify yourself as a devotee of Krishna or as an independent person. That is called identity. As a devotee of Krishna, Satya Ahankar, identity, a real identity. As a independent enjoyer is Ahankar, Mithya Ahankar. So, like that, identity that gives you the thought is a polarized one when it is contaminated, when Krishna is not there in picture, and when Krishna is there in the picture, it is the real identity. So, your question is that whether intelligence or consciousness. Anyway, intelligence is part of your consciousness. So, you are conscious about Krishna when you are completely free from the independent mentality. You know that you are part and parcel of Krishna and exhibiting the duties based on your relationship. That is true consciousness, uncontaminated consciousness. Hare Krishna, second Prabhuji. Paurusa, yeah, that is there. I reached the time actually. I heard that. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, I can go through that 3 4 minutes. So Viraraghava Acharya explained that the Paurusam Dhama is the effulgence of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the divine effulgence that is emanating from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that symbolized purity and enlightenment. Bhagavad Gita supports that ब्रह्मांड प्रतिष्ठाहम अमृतस्य अव्ययस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्य ऐकांतिकस्य च. So Veera Raghavacharya explained that Paurusam Dhamma is that that is the spiritual nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Vijay Dhwaja explained that this is Vishnu Teja, the concept of the Vishnu Teja. because all the luminaries, that is also explained in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, like moon, sun, and all the luminaries, they are illuminated by the effulgence of Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is called Vishnu Teja. And Vishnu Teja is not only illuminating uh, the luminaries, but also all the cosmic manifestations, and they are empowered by the cosmic power of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishnu Teja also gives the practice of devotional, take away fear, it establishes abhaya, it make devotee free from miseries, practice Krishna consciousness, protected by the divine energy of the Vishnu, and give the spiritual awakeness. So that is the Vishnu Tejas explanations, and Sanatana Goswami explained in his Vaishnava Tosani that all these words indicate the influence of Supreme Personality of Godhead's effulgence, the effulgence that emanated from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the source of all the creations. You can see the effulgence of Krishna, from whom all these cosmic manifestations come, from whom through his portion Sankarsana, then comes the Mahavishnus. From Mahavishnus, all these universes are coming. So the source of all such spiritual, material energy, and Nama, Rupa, Guna, Dhamma can also seen as effulgence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. When it is perceived with knowledge, seen as effulgence. When it is perceived with yoga, tapasya, dhyana, vrata, tapaha, then one can meditate or one can see the Paramatma form. But when this science of knowledge is practiced through pure devotions, with the sambandha being established with the natural love of servitude, fraternity, or conjugal or parental, then they can see the most exquisite, beautiful form of Supreme Personality of Godhead with 16 qualities and 6 opulences in fullest forms. So that is how Sanatana Goswami's explanations, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sukadev explained that this is called Bhagavata Swarupa, or the divine appearance of Supreme Personality of Godhead, through which the deep insights into the nature of Bhagavad Swarupa can be understood, and that can enhance our spiritual understanding and devotional practices. So that all assembles, even the interpretations, actually Vaishnava Tosani explains in details that these three process, how we see ourselves being a Jnani, then we'll see the Brahman effulgence, who is the source of the creations, source of the happiness. Brahmano Pratishtaham Amrutasya Abhayasya cha Sasvatasya cha Dharmasya Sukhasya Ikantikasya cha. That is Brahma Sukha, that is eternal abode, inexhaustible, that is the spiritual abode. All these knowledge based realization comes to Gyanis, and those who are practitioners of the meditations, and further they realize as Paramatma, and a devotee realizes as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the combinations of all these explanations, Prabhuji. Would you like to add something more to it? Srikant Prabhuji. Any other questions? Or we can conclude for today? जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जय गुरु महाराज श्री श्रीपाद की, जय श्री प्रभुपाद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि।